Good day, and thank you for tuning in to segment 2 of the first episode of season 3 of UTech's Neighborhood Chat. In this episode, we're chatting about self-care in Black and Brown communities. In this segment, we are specifically exploring self-care with Black and Brown women. In each segment in this episode, we chat more closely about various aspects of self-care. Segment 1 is an overview of self-care. In segment 3, we discuss men's self-care, our youth in segment 4, and self-care and relationships in segment 5. This is segment 2. So please be sure to look out for each segment, watch them as many times as you'd like, and share them with family and friends that you know can benefit from them. So let's get started. If you can access the chat right now, drop in a comment about how you as a woman engage in self-care, or how the main women in your life engage in self-care. And while you're dropping comments in the chat, let's neighborhood chat. Often in Black and Brown communities, it is said that our women are the first up in the morning and the last down at night. And also, often our women, the mothers, the wives, the partners, the sisters, the daughters, neighbors in our community, give up their time for self-care and maybe even their rest, health, and money for everyone else in their lives. The importance of women attending to their own self-care cannot be overstated. Let's be clear. Self-care is not only just about leisure for white people, as has been understood for far too long. In segment 1 of this episode on self-care, we examined what self-care actually is, how self-care can be defined and understood. And we know that self-care is a wide range of practices and activities we each should engage in to care for ourselves regularly. Everyone needs to keep our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual selves in stable condition. We each need balance, focus, and to do it mindfully. When we are in balance, our total body can do what we want it to do. It can do what we need it to do to fulfill our goals and purpose. Self-care helps us to prevent some negative and unintended impacts of the various parts of our lives. Throughout history, Black women have been the glue in our communities. We provide physical and emotional support to families, friends, and strangers. We band together to uplift neighbors. We teach, we nurture, we build. And while we accomplish great things, we are being killed silently because we do not practice proper self-care. These are the reasons self-care in Black and Brown women is necessary. We are not suggesting that self-care in other women is unnecessary. However, self-care activities in Black and Brown women is necessary to cope with personal matters and structural socio-cultural factors that harm us. These socio-cultural structural factors that impact women of color include the American political system, gendered roles, self-imposed expectations, and relationships with family, friends, children, the professional world, and ourselves. All too often, these relationships reinforce self-neglect and negative self-talk. Self-care is a way to restore balance. Key elements of restoring balance include engaging in deep work, taking back our power, getting in tune with your own self, figuring out what your unique needs are, and holding yourself accountable. Deep work often refers to spiritual practice. Deep work may also be doing emotional work, self-reflecting, and processing difficult topics and experiences. This type of deep work often should be with or can be guided by a mental health professional. Sometimes we just need a neutral party to talk to and to turn our stuff over to, at least for a time. Self-care is necessary to foster our resilience and to boost resistance. The resilience and resistance involved in working through multiple layers of trauma on any level. We are all, every single one of us, is in need of doing the deep work of processing and healing from many traumas. Growing up as Black and Brown girls in American society had some degree of trauma. the trauma that women of color too often experience include being degraded publicly and privately in school, at home, and in the media. Many of us have been violated physically and emotionally. Many of us had absent or overworked parents, taunting siblings, and even well-meaning grandparents that all made an impact on how we view ourselves and therefore move through the world. The work of self-care helps to begin to reframe our realities and set appropriate boundaries with ourselves and others. As we mentioned in the first segment of this episode of Neighborhood Chat, self-care can mean doing something as simple and vital as taking a few minutes daily, and perhaps several times a day, to de-stress. Self-care involves doing something that helps you manage your physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health. Self-care allows you to be your best self for yourself so you can be your best self for your kids, your partner, your parents, your siblings, friends, and neighbors. We are never too young or too mature to begin to incorporate self-care into our regular routine. We can begin this by activating the relaxation response in our bodies. When the relaxation response is activated, our breathing slows and our blood pressure and heart rate decrease. To activate the relaxation response, we can begin by combining breathing deeply and focusing our attention on pleasing thoughts and images. Relaxation strategies include yoga, progressive muscle relaxation, walking or other physical activity, and mindfulness meditation. Positive self-talk may help to activate the relaxation response in us as well. Affirmations, a simple phrase such as "I am perfect, whole, and enough," or "peace, love, and order are my guide," can help us begin to relax. Let's remember, there is no one way to manage stress. There is no one way to incorporate self-love into your life. You can do the best you can based on what you have available to you at the time. What you have available to you includes classes, suggestions from friends, family, and perhaps helping professionals. What we have available also includes our awareness and understanding of ourselves as individuals, as humans, and as spiritual beings. Keeping in mind that our self-care should be customized and individualized for each of us. There are some suggestions that can create the strategies that work for us in any given period of our lives. Aspects to consider when customizing your self-care plan include the time you give to your self-care, the resources and amenities available to you, and the aspects of your life need for self-management. If you're short on time, make a list of 3-minute activities you love. Put one on each day of your calendar. Maybe listening to a favorite song during lunch, doing some stretching after a warm shower, catching a few minutes of the sunrise or sunset, or perhaps simple options that can be incorporated into your self-care plan include combining de-stressing with physically or medically healthy habits. Habits such as integrating more nutritious foods into your day, or moving your body more with walks or short exercise routines, or even just turning on some music and dancing with no care for who might be watching. You may also think about getting more quality sleep. Getting better quality sleep may be done by making small changes, like not eating a big meal close to bedtime, or going to bed and waking up at the same time each day. You might also try developing or strengthening a good social support system with family, friends, or maybe even making new friends with similar interests. Research shows that social support makes self-care easier and more effective. As more women recognize that adopting consistent, personalized, healthful behavior will help us navigate life's stressors, we begin to accept that our good self-care will help enhance our community. Our self-care will help improve the experiences of our households, our families, and our broader societal and global community. Good self-care guides us to make choices that support our needs and overall well-being. VTech would love to hear about what you're doing for self-care in your life. Let us know in the comments what you're doing or hope to do to make self-care part of your regular life. Black and brown women, no matter how we may look on the outside, many of us may be and perhaps are suffering in silence. Yes, often we make the decision, either actively or passively, to suffer in silence. We do not want to be a burden to those we love, especially our children. Stereotypes like the strong Black woman puts women of color in a position to take care of their family and communities. That may be at the cost of our own health. We may do it with a smile, even when we are exhausted. We can be strong. We are indeed strong. We must begin to reframe or perhaps redefine the term. A strong Black woman is one that is achieving professionally. She cares for her family and community, and she engages in self-care routinely and consistently. Reframing, redefining strong Black women in this way teaches young women in our lives and in our community to do the same. As a community, it is important for us to support each other, encourage each other, and hold each other accountable. In efforts to support women of color in healthy self-care plans, we can each decide to do one thing to help to support the women in our lives with their self-care plans. This support looks differently for each woman. Maybe being supportive means agreeing to provide some childcare so she has time to herself for a few hours. Maybe support looks like being available to her to process the experiences of her day or week. Perhaps support means walking with her in the morning before work or for 15 minutes during lunch. Support could be preparing or sending a healthy meal one day a month, or starting an email conversation, creating a safe space for discussing whatever she wants or needs to discuss. Being supportive may be holding her accountable to keep her medical appointments, encouraging her to develop and execute a self-care plan. You can be an accountability partner. Whatever the method or channel of support, it is important for each of us to actively find a way to support a Black woman in your life. While we have focused on Black women in this segment, we also neighborhood chat about self-care with Black men in segment 3, self-care with Black and brown youth in segment 4, and self-care and relationships in segment 5. Look for those segments wherever you get the Neighborhood Chat podcast, because self-care is a foundation that allows each of us to be strengthened. Good self-care gives us the tools and support we need to help our community of Black and brown folks to grow and to thrive. And that is why we at ViewTech do what we do, because we know that if we have changed just one life, then we have changed the entire world. We hope helping Black and brown women incorporate self-care into their lives with the help of the rest of us will change the entire world. Thank you for joining us. Help us out with a like, share our podcast with your friends and family, hit that subscribe button, and continue the conversation. Let us know in the comments what you will commit to doing starting today, starting this week for your self-care. Let us know what you will do to help support a woman in your life with her self-care. And look for our segments on self-care in Black and brown communities with men, with youth, and with relationships. Thank you and good day.